was really nice on my way into work this morning at about 1:30. Weather-wise, it was mild. Obviously, there's some kind of a mist / light rain, if you want to call it that.
And I hear that that's froze in a number of places and creating a slippery black ice situation. So while it seems like it's mild, it's right at that cusp, and depending on where you are.
Yeah, it's cooling off.
Misting.
As we speak, as yesterday was really nice. And going to be about a high of 38 today with some snow possible this morning in areas. 23 tomorrow, 34 on Wednesday. Looks like mid-20s again on Thursday, just sort of up and down, up and down. Definitely not getting anywhere near the 50s like we had last week, though. Second floor Sarah is going to join us later on, talk about what she's been up to and what's happening in the area this week. Big game on Sunday. We'll start talking about Super Bowl stats and info. There's plenty of stuff to talk about. What are you having for food at your party? You're going to be gambling, prop bets, all that crap. Also, speaking of food at your party, maybe time to take a look at some of the expiration dates on some of the things in your fridge. Talk about that. Also, I went to the Dells this weekend to see my guy, Pat McCurdy, and I thought my wife died. More on that later on. I'll tell you all about it.
Did you have to Heimlich? Was it a Heimliching situation?
Very in-depth. A very in-depth explanation as to what happened.
She swelled up? She had an allergic reaction, puffed up?
We'll get to that later on, but yes, all that. Yeah. If you need something, find us online at rockmornings.com. We'll get to some music in a bit from the Chili Peppers.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene on your rock station.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Again, looks like it's going to be mild today. Maybe some snow this morning. And as Gene mentioned, some of the precipitation that we had during the overnight, some of that moisture that's been hanging around is starting to freeze up in certain areas. So please be careful on your way to work.
Yeah, snowy start could be in some areas, a little bit of mist, a little bit of freezing, and some fog in some areas as well. So be careful.
Speaking of the weather, looks like we got 6 more weeks of it.
See the groundhog?
Yeah?
Think it'll be an early spring.
Didn't we do this yesterday?
It was yesterday that they did this.
They did it yesterday.
Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow, and now we got 6 more weeks of winter.
Punxsutawney Phil, the seer of seers, was awakened from his wintry nap at dawn on Gobbler's Knob. Phil looked to the skies and then, speaking in groundhogese, directed the president to the proper scroll, which reads, "It's Groundhog Day, and maybe life is on a loop, but I miss my burrow, I miss my coop. So I'm headed back down. There's a shadow up here. Get ready for 6 more weeks of winter this year."
Last month, by the way, the coldest January in the U.S. since 2014.
Yeah, not necessarily for the people where it's supposed to be cold.
January 21st, the second coldest day nationally in 29 years. And, of course, the big winter storm, Enzo, which broke a bunch of snowfall records in the south, including more than 9 inches in the Panhandle in Florida. People going down there this time of year to escape the winter up here in the Midwest and just running into more of it down there. Phil, by the way, is wrong more than he's right. Weather is obviously different everywhere, but his historical accuracy is about 38%. So Punxsutawney Phil not very good at predicting the weather. The Weather Channel, their outlook for February shows warmer than average temperatures for most of the east and the south, but a colder February for the Northwest, Northern Rockies, and Northern Plains. Back to groundhogs. If you're looking for someone to really trust in when it comes to weather reporting and varmints.
There's a varmint that's more accurate?
Yeah. The most accurate groundhog is Staten Island Chuck out of New York. And he's right at about 85% of the time. Oh, my gosh,
he's way more right.
Way better, almost more than double.
Yeah.
He did not see his shadow, so he's predicting an early spring. Recent reports said that Punxsutawney Phil was the 17th most accurate weather predicting groundhog in the U.S.
He's famous and he's bad at his job.
Well, the funny part is there's 16 other groundhogs out there that are predicting the weather. Like everybody got on the train.
Better than him.
Yeah.
That's job security, dude.
But again, the guy in Staten Island, Chuck, 85% of the time. Crazy plane crash over the weekend in Philadelphia. Speaking of Pennsylvania, I don't know if you saw it, the medical transport jet.
Oh, yeah.
All the videos from the cars that were sitting there in traffic, and it goes in a huge fireball. I mean, the medical transport jet that was carrying a patient and her mother back to Mexico was in the air less than a minute before it plunged to the ground in the busy corridor of northeast Philadelphia. High-impact crash. Plane is highly fragmented, substantial impact on the entire community. The crash claimed at least 7 lives and injured another 19 people following an explosion that sent debris flying all the way down the block. Officials identifying the mother and her daughter as Lizeth Murillo Osuna and Valentina Guzman Murillo.
It's my understanding she was on a charity flight, that she was getting treatment at the Shriners Hospital. So it was, she had this was life-saving medical procedures and treatments that she was getting on one of those, wish kind of miracle trips where they can do something about it, and then this awful tragedy occurs.
The chairman of the National Transportation Safety Board, Jennifer Hamady, said in a statement, "The debris is scattered. It is very dangerous, and I encourage everyone to stay out of the accident site. It's very dangerous." But yeah, they're working on cleaning that up, but it looks like everybody on that plane losing their lives. Elsewhere, here in Wisconsin, Jefferson County, a woman who allegedly falsely reported her child was stolen, arrested following a 9-hour search that ended with the kid was found safe at home.
So, made it up?
Yeah. Princess Ilunga is her name. Taken into custody by the Wisconsin State Patrol during a traffic stop for a suspended registration and equipment violation. This was back on January 30th. The arrest stemmed from a warrant charging her with filing a false police report, a Class 4 felony. Back on the 16th of January, Ilunga reported to the Rock Island Police that her car had been stolen with her 4-year-old child, Blessing, inside. After an extensive search, the child was discovered outside the residence. In the afternoon, investigators determined Ilunga had hidden the child inside the home during the search. So it sounds like one of these situations where the car gets stolen or goes missing or whatever, and in order to get the police to care more and do a more intensive search, they say the kid's in the car. Ilunga, arrested in Jefferson County, had 7 kids in the vehicle with her at the time of her arrest. The children temporarily placed in the care of the Lake Mills Police Department until their father could take custody of them that night. She is still in Jefferson County Jail awaiting extradition to Illinois. We got a text from our plow guy in Eau Claire.
I was just going to say, it looks like
the roads in Chippewa Valley are snow-covered and slippery. Slow down, be safe.
I'm looking at that as we speak in real time, and it looks like they look very, very slippery, and the snow is falling heavy in Chippewa Falls. So
and again, the temperature dropping, so things will be icing up and getting real slippery. Thank you, plow guy in Eau Claire, for that. Be safe. A lot of people claiming they want to move to Canada, get out of the U.S. after Trump took the office a couple weeks ago. In New York, with Canada pretty much right there on the border.
Well, Maine too, right?
Oh,
across the border,
even here. I mean, we're all close, but millions of people in America, maybe not millions, but lots of people in America feeling like they're not represented in the government anymore. A foreign country right in their backyard. More people are taking the joke seriously now, with a change in the political leadership giving people a legitimate reason to try to file for dual citizenship with Canada or ditch their U.S. citizenship entirely. Evan Green, a managing partner at a law firm in New York, says what we're in right now is a period of heightened uncertainty all the way and fear. During the Biden administration, we probably got maybe 1 or 2 calls a month.
This is a person.
Since the new administration has come into office, we probably had maybe 1 or 2 a week. So people calling the law firm and trying to figure out what the process is of making the jump. Immigration lawyers on both sides of the border are seeing an interest in people wanting to cut ties with the country. Good luck to you. I'm not sure if Canada is going to be like, yeah, come on over. Love to have you.
This weekend's been weird.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene.
According to our plow guy here, just to let you know that the morning commute is going to be slippery and snow-covered for a lot of Chippewa Valley and Eau Claire. It's going to taper off, though, for those of you that do have snow by mid to late morning, and conditions should improve by the afternoon. Total accumulations, by the way, from north to south, it's not going to impact everybody. Like, I don't think we're going to get anything in the La Crosse area, but Eau Claire, you might have 4 inches before this is all done.
Oof. Geez, get that snow shovel out.
Yep. 4 to 5 inches.
A text from Ryan said that Jimmy the Groundhog in Sun Prairie, who bit the mayor famously years ago, is number 4 on the accuracy list.
See?
Yeah. So Punxsutawney Phil gets all the shine. He's kind of where it all started, but the rest of the groundhogs apparently
have a Teamsters union or something? Or are they like, that guy's bad at his job? We're better.
Way more certainty when it comes to the weather. We'll get to sports in a couple of minutes. Also, some Chili Peppers after a day to remember.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. The Bucks struggling. They lost to San Antonio on Friday night, 144-118. Then they lost yesterday to the Grizzlies, 132-119, their third in a row. And in Oklahoma City tonight to take on the Thunder. That's a 7 p.m. tip. Bucks looking to turn things around after losing 3 in a row. Meanwhile, the 17th ranked Wisconsin men's basketball team improved to 17-5 on the season with a 75-69 win over Northwestern on Saturday.
Yeah, so they got it together after that weird loss, huh?
Yeah. Badgers are at home against Indiana. That's tomorrow night at 8 o'clock on Peacock as they return home and look for some more dubs. The Capitals didn't get the dub in overtime, but Ovi did get another goal.
Now carried in by Wilson. Dropped it over. It's going to Ovechkin!
Yeah. As they say in hockey.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do that hockey. Ovechkin scored his 877th goal of his career, now 18 away from breaking the NHL record. But the Capitals lost 5-4 in overtime to the Winnipeg Jets on Saturday night. NASCAR returned to its roots with a preseason exhibition at Bowman Gray Stadium. And Chase Elliott getting the clash last night. Elliott won his heat on Saturday night to start from the pole and basically dominated the entire race, quarter-mile track. Not a lot of passing, a couple of spin-outs, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, okay. And he was way ahead of everybody else? Is that...
Yeah, NASCAR Cup Series last raced at the Bowman Gray Stadium back in 1971. This is the Dale Earnhardt Jr. and all that, you know.
Yeah.
NASCAR's reigning most popular driver won the Clash for the first time in his career, joined his father Bill as winners of the unofficial season opener. Bill Elliott won it back in 1987 and then turned that into a win at the Daytona 500 a week later. So we got 2 weeks now before the Daytona, which will be on the 16th. But Chase Elliott starting off the season in good fashion. Iowa got a big win over number 4 USC, big upset win. The women's basketball team 76-69. That was yesterday. All over the sports channels yesterday because fans were lining up at about 7 o'clock in the morning to get in for, I think it was like a 2 or a 2:30 tip because they were retiring Caitlin Clark's jersey in a ceremony.
Yeah.
So they hung the 22 jersey in the rafters there at Carver Hawkeye Arena. And a lot of people were trying to show up and get in and not only see Iowa get a nice upset victory, but also to see Caitlin Clark get her jersey retired. Elsewhere in sports over the weekend, the Pro Bowl weekend. Not a lot of eyes watching this one. It's kind of boring, stupid,
I bet.
But a week before the Chiefs attempt to win a third Super Bowl in a row, the NFC completed a three-peat of their own in the 2025 Pro Bowl games, topping the AFC 76-63 after the completion of all the events, including a 56-50 win in the flag football game yesterday. NFC has won all 3 years in the flag football format that began back in February of 2023. So
you don't hurt people?
Yeah.
I don't get unnecessary injuries.
I don't know why they do this thing anymore. I don't know why. And the other thing, too, is like you go from the Bills quarterback, Josh Allen, who has an MVP season and might actually win the MVP award, and he's not going to play in the game, right? Because he just finished the season. He's probably like, thank you for the honors. But the backup that they named after they got rid of Josh Allen was Drake May for the Patriots, who is like 1-9 in his first 10 starts.
Is not an MVP,
No, and doesn't have a very good stats. And, like, look, I'm a Pats guy, but, like, there was nobody else.
It went from that to that?
Yeah, so I don't know. That's the problem with the football Pro Bowl games is you can't really figure out what the hell to do with them because nobody really wants to go and nobody wants to get injured and it's just sort of boring. But they got to do something, right? Yeah. Sports on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. We'll get to some 3 Days Grace in just a bit.
Yeah, and if you're in Eau Claire and Chippewa, you're waking up to some snow on the ground and snow falling through mid-morning, 2 to 5 inches, and a band across the Chippewa Valley. It looks like Arcadia, some snow 1 to 2 inches there, and then as you move up north, you're looking, like I said, 1 to 5 inches before it's done later on this morning. Just a trace of it in our area, depending on where you're at.
Again, 3 Days Grace, some highly suspect on the way. If you need something, rockmornings.com.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. More from Brian and Gene is coming up.
And now a woman's thoughts celebrating the end of dry January.
Wow, dry January is over. Think of all the things I survived without alcohol. Snow days with the kids, sick days with the kids, just being around the kids in general. This calls for a celebration. And oh, how convenient. It's February. The calendar version of Wine O'Clock. See ya in a year, respectable Janice. I tell you not to get too crazy, but we both know that won't happen since you're boring as hell, even with the alcohol.
And that was a woman's thoughts celebrating the end of dry January.
It's come to an end. Certainly seemed like people were not celebrating dry anything this weekend in the Dells. That's for damn sure. Lots of drinking. Television tonight, The Bachelor. Over on ABC. Ooh.
It's not the...
Let me tune in for this one. What?
It's not the kickoff? It's not the season
I have
premiere?
no idea,
Okay.
dude. All I know is there's an episode on tonight on ABC.
Right.
The Bachelor. I will bang 30 women and then choose the one I want to bang again.
The
With a
Bachelor.
rose. The Bachelor. Is that how it works?
I don't know. You're asking the wrong person.
Season 27 premiere of The Voice over on NBC tonight. Adam Levine, John Legend, Kelsey Ballerini, and Michael Bublé are the coaches this year. Over on Fox tonight, the series finale of 911 Lone Star. That's coming to an end. On the C-Dub, 7th season premiere of All-American. Also, NCIS is on CBS tonight. Fallon, it's got Adrian Brody and Idina Menzel as his guests. Harrison Ford, along with My Morning Jacket, going to be on with Jimmy Kimmel. Harrison Ford, of course, in the new Captain America movie. Lin-Manuel Miranda will be on Stephen Colbert's show, and James Marsden will be on with Seth Meyers tonight. Not sure if you caught any of the Grammys last night.
I caught it a little bit.
My wife was showing me on her phone because we were watching the NASCAR race at the same time, and then I'm assuming she stayed up to watch it.
For Best Pop Vocal Album. And the Grammy goes to...
Short and sweet, Sabrina Carpenter.
For Best Rap Album, Alligator Bites, Never Hear by Doja.
For Best Country Album, Cowboy Carter.
The Grammy Award for Best New Artist goes to
Chapel Roan.
for Best Latin Pop Album.
For Best Pop Duo, Group Performance, Die With a Smile, Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars.
For Record of the Year. Not Like Us, Kendrick Lamar.
For the Song of the Year, Kendrick Lamar.
Not Like Us. For Album of the Year, Cowboy Carter. Beyonce.
Yeah, it was the Grammys, the usual. A lot of crap. Nothing really worth watching. You had Jaden Smith showing up with a house on his face. Did you see this?
I did.
Will Smith's kid was wearing like a house. Kanye and his wife showed. Has anybody done a wellness check on this lady? I mean, it feels like he's like cultishly brainwashing her.
I didn't see any of that part.
So they show up. First of all, they were uninvited, right? They weren't invited to the Grammys. He's not performing. He's not presenting. They weren't invited. I'm assuming you have to have a ticket or something like that or be on a list. He and his wife show up, this Bianca lady. She's wearing a black, like, furry robe, and then she takes it off, and she's butt naked. Like, right there in the front of everybody, all the photographers, broad daylight. I'm kidding.
Like on the red carpet?
Butt-ass naked. Butt-ass naked.
Well, they have to pan away from that quickly, don't they?
There's a very funny meme going around about a kid who was kind of over there. Must have been with somebody.
I'm sure.
Well, and then the security officers trying to figure out where to look as they're trying to escort him out. They got kicked out. They had to call the cops in because, like, they're like, you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah, and you're naked. We can't probably let you in.
Beyonce winning. Obviously, I don't know about anything else. I didn't stay up and watch it. My wife probably did. But in terms of the categories that we probably care about, congratulations to Gojira. Obviously, very successful.
Yes,
2024, cool. The big show at the Olympics, kicking things off there in Paris. They won for Best Metal Performance. They beat out some pretty heavy competition, too. Judas Priest, Metallica, Spirit Box, and Knocked Loose with Poppy. So, yeah, congratulations to Gojira. Best Rock Performance went to the Beatles, Now and Then. I don't know how they come up with these categories.
I think it's the
and
significance of the blending of the music and all
also
of that.
Nominated for Best Rock Performance, the Black Keys, Green Day, Idols, Pearl Jam, and St. Vincent. The Best Rock Song went to Broken Man. Annie Clark, the songwriter for St. Vincent, which obviously, it's one of those Grammy favorites. Best Rock Album, the winner in that category, the Rolling Stones. At the age of 9,000, they're still putting out music and getting Grammys. The Hackney Diamonds is the name of the album, but also nominated for Best Rock Album, the Black Crowes, Green Day, Pearl Jam, Jack White. Best Alternative Music Performance went to St. Vincent. Alternative Music Album, again, St. Vincent. Other than that, not a lot of other categories for rock and metal, but
number
those
of tributes, obviously, to the fire and the victims there. They had the Los Angeles Fire Department on at one point. They made an appearance on stage and were honored at the Grammys. They were raising money over $7 million last night. There was a tribute. Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars did California Dreamin', and there was a performance by The Weeknd, who had for years and years had a beef with the Academy, but made peace with it and came back last night. So the charity part of it and the honoring the firefighters was very cool on the parts that I saw last night. Also what I watched this weekend that was very cool, really well, in my opinion, extremely well done, was the 50th musical tribute to the Saturday Night Live that Questlove did. We watched that on Friday night. I found it incredibly entertaining.
You talking about the
musical artists, the 50th anniversary music
we're watching
spotlight.
Yeah, we're
2
watching.
hours. Questlove was the producer.
I think it might be the different one than we're watching.
You're watching a docu-series, right?
I don't know. There's like so much goddamn SNL stuff going on right now. I can't keep up with it.
It's just 1 2 hour, and it's only musical artists.
Well, we're watching something, and it's several hours long, and it talks about the musicians. And is Adele featured in that? Talking about how she went overnight. She was flying back to Britain from New York. Her performance at SNL, and then she went from like 44 on the chart to like up into the top 10 or whatever.
Yeah, but this is this also has like their parody songs like Dick in a Box and all that.
That was in there too.
Yeah.
So we're watching the same thing.
It's really good. Yeah. I thought it was really well done. Really well done.
We got a text from Lozano, who is the handler for K9 Rock, who we raised money for several years ago for the La Crosse Police Department to not only purchase but also train a new K9 officer, and that is K9 Rock is apparently on day shift officially today, according to Officer Lozano.
Yay!
I have heard rumors that Rock is also a psycho. In a good way, right? Like a crazy, like he's amped up. He's ready to go. So
he's on a mission.
Yeah.
All the time.
Officer Lozano texted in and said, "Good morning. K9 Rock is officially on day shift as of today. He would like to listen to some Shepherd of Fire." He's a German Shepherd, so yeah. Here you go.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene on your rock station.
That is Rockfest music from Marilyn Manson. Going to be at Rockfest on Friday the 18th, along with Five Finger Death Punch, In This Moment, Nothing More, Mushroom Head, and many others. Rock-fest.com. Get that lineup. Buy those tickets. Don't wait. It's going to sell out, maybe. It's crazy. Every time I look, something else is running out of tickets.
Campsites.
Yeah. Big thanks again to Officer Lozano for the text. Congratulations to K9 Rock on his, I guess, promotion, if you will, to day shift.
So exciting that Rock is finally going to days.
Dean texted in, said he was in and out of his work truck. Not sure if I missed it or if you didn't mention it. Luka Doncic, now a Laker. We did not mention it. I don't know if you're...
That's a big deal,
implying
wasn't it?
that I don't care, but, we have several sports reports to do during the morning, so...
That was... I saw a bunch of people sharing that.
Everybody was jerking off about that one this weekend. Ryan texted in and said Jimmy the Groundhog in Sun Prairie is number 4 on the accuracy on predictions. As we heard earlier, Punxsutawney Phil, while he gets all the fame, he's not very good at his job. 38%, apparently, over the last umpteen years.
That's not good. I don't know. Why do we even listen to what he has to say?
Well, the guy in New York, Staten Island Chuck, is 85% right.
Okay, let's talk about Chuck.
Also, our plow guy in Eau Claire said the roads in Chippewa Valley are snow-covered and slippery, so slow down. Obviously, in La Crosse, where we are, it's just sort of like some ambient moisture that's been hanging in the air all weekend, like a rainy, drizzle, misty thing that might be freezing up in some spots, but in the Chippewa Valley area, Chippewa Falls, it's coming down hard.
Yeah, you're going to end up with a couple inches, anywhere from 2 to 5 across the valley by the time it ends mid-morning. And, a trace of it or some ice in other areas all the way from Arcadia on up. So be careful.
We'll get to some Offspring in a couple of minutes. And if you want to get in touch with us, find all of our contact info online at rockmornings.com.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. That is the Offspring with Got to Get Away. When you see someone in a frozen pond or lake and they're in distress, you got to help them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a professional jump roper, you got a bunch of ropes in your bag to help. You help them.
You tie them all together and make some
That's exactly what this guy did. A professional jump roper named David Fisher apparently used his double Dutch ropes to save a teenager who fell through the ice on a pond back in December. And the city of Westfield, Indiana, just honored him with their life-saving award at a ceremony last week. This guy doing the damn thing.
I am a professional rope jumper. The dog went onto the ice pond to chase the geese, and the dog is in the water. The boy went in to try and save his dog, and he's treading water in the middle of the ice pond, screaming. I just instinctively went right for my bag of jump ropes and pulled out the double Dutch ropes. I headed out on the ice pond, and as I start to go out there, I can hear the ice cracking underneath my feet. I sling the rope to him, and he grabs one handle, and bit by bit, we pulled him out of the ice pond.
This guy, David Fisher, traveling the world as a professional jump roper.
That's what I just heard you say. He's a professional double Dutch rope jumper.
Says, quote, I have 3 world records for jumping while seated on the ground. It's a very interactive, visually entertaining jump rope show.
My mind is blown.
By the way, there's a very hot girl who's on the socials that does jump roping, and I'm mesmerized by it. Not just because of her beauty and her bouncing breasts. I mean, that's obviously very nice as well, because she does it all in very tight, fitting and loose clothing, like
on purpose.
skimpy.
But she is an incredible.
Dude, watching that and I got no clue how she does it.
And it's going so fast you can hardly see it.
No, and it's going around and up and this and that, and all sorts of weird, crazy jumps and spinning around. And she's doing the 1, 2, 1, 2, and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. But I'm watching that, and I'm stunned. I'm just, But this guy also writes children's books about jump roping, a jump roping hero. And his stories became a reality last December.
And now he's a real hero.
Apparently a neighbor's dog went onto the ice pond to chase the geese. We just heard a story about this not too long ago.
I just saw a dog doing that this weekend.
Dog ended up in the water. 18-year-old man went in after the dog, fell in, attempting to save the dog. This guy said, I got you. I got these double Dutch ropes.
I'll just tie them all together and make a lifeline.
Yeah. The community now calling him a hero, saving this kid and his dog. The Westfield mayor, Scott Willis, said he understands what it means to put the needs of others ahead of your own. Fisher says he did what he hoped anybody else would do, saying, quote, we're all part of a community, I would hope that when cries go out, everyone could do whatever it is they might be able to do in the situation to help. So, yeah. Smooth move.
Mm-hmm.
Elsewhere, this is in Michigan, Rochester Hills. There's an 8-year-old named Yannick Bebout. I think is how you pronounce his last name. And he's 8 years old. And his family, enduring unimaginable tragedy back in June of 2024, he was shot in the head while playing at a Rochester Hills splash pad. There was a mass shooting.
Oh.
Yeah. A mass shooting at a splash pad near Detroit last year
in the middle of the morning.
Left 9 people injured, including a little boy. This kid's named Yannick Bebout. Nobody died in the shooting, but it robbed him of his eyesight, shot in the head. And he's in the news now because of how positive he has remained through the entire situation, and also because he thinks farts are hilarious, and that's how he's helping other people recover from
terrible tragedy.
Serious tragedy.
What noise did it make that made you laugh?
The fart noise.
Who doesn't think farts are funny? I mean, come on.
Some girls, but my friend Jane thinks they're hilarious. And here is the noise.
Seeing them, laughing again and seeing them starting to run around and just be themselves again was so inspiring to me.
Yannick's like, Nana, I want to do this for the other kids.
When he was in the hospital, he was playing with a toy called Flarp. If you have kids, you probably know. It's like a slime. Jar of slime making farting noises when you push it down. And
push it, squish it.
They say it was the first time that he had laughed after the shooting.
Oh, my gosh.
You get shot in the head. You got to recover from that, the physical part of it. Then you realize, I can't see, I'm blind. And you're 8, and you got to try to figure all that out. You're in the hospital, and terrifying, right? And so he's playing with his toy. It makes farting noises, and farts are funny. Asked his grandmother if he could use it to cheer up other kids. So they rounded up 2,400 jars of this Flarp, and he's handing them out to the kids in the hospital who are also there with whatever sort of physical situation they've got going on.
Oh, my gosh.
So, yeah. 8-year-old Yannick Bebout.
Flarp should get behind that.
Oh, I'm sure they got the word. I'm sure the call went out. Very cool move. Farts are funny, Gene.
I know that, except girls. Most people think they're funny except for girls.
My friend Jane finds them hilarious. We're going to talk about the condiments in your fridge as you get ready to host or maybe serve up some food for Super Bowl Sunday.
Time to look at that Frank's Red Hot sauce, see if it's still good.
And also, I am going to tell you about my wife's near-death experience over the weekend in the Wisconsin Dells. Very. More on that in just a bit.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Start your day with Rock Mornings.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Super Bowl Sunday right around the corner. We'll have some more stats and info a bit later on. Second floor Sarah is going to join us just after 8 o'clock, talk about what's going on in the area this week, see what her weekend was like. I was in the Dells this weekend to see Pat McCurdy with my wife. I'll tell you about that here in a couple of minutes. Near-death experience for my wife. Today, by the way, is Feed the Birds Day. I just reloaded the bird feeder. The squirrels have knocked most of it onto the ground, but we have quite a few birds still left in our yard. The cardinals are back. They're enjoying the bird seed.
Cardinals are always, they're always here, by the way, winters.
I know. You don't see them.
They hide.
National Carrot Cake Day. Need some carrot cake. National Golden Retriever Day. And today also, of course, the day the music died. The plane crash that took Buddy Holly and Richie Valens and the Big Bopper. So if you've got a party coming up on Sunday, you're going to have some people over, or maybe it's just going to be a family thing. This week might be a good time to go through the fridge, take a look at things, make sure they're up to snuff, especially stuff that maybe sits on the door for a long period of time. It doesn't get used very often.
Yeah, you have wings, and maybe you get some blue cheese dressing, and it just sits there and waits for more wings.
How long is the shrimp cocktail sauce been in there, right?
That kind of stuff.
How often do you have shrimp, especially stuff that you don't have very often? Number one, these are some dangerous expired condiments. So if they are expired, get rid of them. Don't try.
Some may not matter as much as others.
Mayonnaise, obviously, number one. Eggs, Once it's been open, the USDA says it's only good for about 2 months. Give it a sniff test. If it doesn't smell correctly, then chuck it, get some new mayo.
2 months, huh?
Yeah. Once it's been open, even if it stays in the fridge,
jar.
all that stuff, yeah. Salad dressing, any of the creamy kinds that also have eggs or cheese are supposed to be tossed after 2 months. Oily dressings can last longer.
Yeah, Caesar, ranch, blue cheese.
Ketchup and barbecue sauce. You've got about 6 months to use those up. Keep an eye on the color. If it starts to change or separate, one of those kind of things, you want to toss it.
Don't call me worthless. I'm trying my best. I'm not my dad.
That's right, you're not your dad. He could sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves.
Ketchup popsicle?
Yeah.
Ketchup and barbecue sauce. Be on the lookout. 6 months. Mustard, it'll last much longer.
Really?
Because there's more vinegar in it. But once you break the seal, you're supposed to use it up in a year.
So that's Dijon, that's yellow, that's
brown, stone, all that. Yep.
Horseradish, more spicy brown.
And soy sauce. A lot of people assume it will last forever, but again, you've only got about a year to use that before it can go bad. So take a look inside your fridge, especially that door. See what's in there. Check the expiration dates. If you're having a party or you got some wings or some meatballs or something you're doing for the Super Bowl, throw away those expired condiments. Saturday night, excuse me. We traveled to the Dells, the Wisconsin Dells, to see Pat McCurdy at the Showboat Saloon. Got to the hotel just in time, checked in, got to the venue literally minutes before he took the stage. Grabbed a beer, hanging out. After the show was over, we walked up the strip in the Dells to Nigs, have a swig at Nigs. Mm-hmm. Place is packed. It's crazy music, right? It's loud. They got
very busy dance club on a Saturday night in the Wisconsin
Well, and it's funny because it's a local yokel bar during the week, and a lot of those guys were there sitting at the bar, and they're just, I think some of them might be elderly men who are lonely, and there's a lot of young, very attractive, scantily dressed women in there
on a Friday or Saturday night.
So there's some visual tantalization going on. There were some good people watching.
Yeah.
So we're at Nigs for a little while, having a couple of drinks, and then we make our way back to the hotel and turn the TV on. We didn't get any food. We had no more drinks in the hotel. Turned it on, and I started to fall asleep. And I woke up at 4 o'clock, and I went to the bathroom, and we had double beds, but it's dark in there. And my wife in the bed. And then I went back to sleep, and when I woke up a little after 6 o'clock, it's a little lighter in the room, and I look over and I see her just laying in the same position that she was in when I went to the bathroom. Like she hadn't moved. And so I got on my phone and I'm checking texts and I'm looking at social media and I'm playing Candy Crush, whatever. And that's, I almost always wake up before her, and eventually
that's not unusual.
Right around 6:40 on the weekends at home,
she'll start stirring.
Is when she'll get up and the dogs have to go out and all that crap. So I'm like, I'll just let her sleep, whatever. We don't have anywhere to go. It's only an hour to get back to the house, and we're not in a rush. We did plan on going to get breakfast, but whatever.
It's still early. It's
Plus,
fine.
the pool didn't open until 8 o'clock in the hotel, and we wanted to go hit the pool real quick. So I was like, no rush. So it's 6:45 now, and then it's 7:15, and then it's 7:30, and she literally hadn't moved at all. No rolling, no tossing, no turn, nothing. So in my brain, I just start to overthink it. And I'm like, is my wife dead? Did she die in the middle of her sleep? What's going on here? And I'm not trying to make jokes. I'm literally, this is the conversation I'm having with myself. When I could have easily just gotten up and
right. Is she warm?
But
she's fine.
But I also didn't want to wake her. And then I'm running through the scenarios of
it's getting worse and worse
calling,
and worse and worse.
Calling 911 and them coming to the hotel. What do I got to carry her downstairs in my arm? Oh my God, someone call 911. And then an investigation, an autopsy. Did the husband kill her in her sleep? All this crazy stuff's going through my head. And then finally she started to snore, and I was like, okay, I'm safe. And I didn't tell her any of this until yesterday afternoon after we got home and got all unpacked.
By the way, you worried me with your barely breathing.
And we were out with some friends having some drinks, watching, sports on TV or whatever. And somebody knew we had gone to the Dells to see Pat McCurdy. And they're like, oh, how was the trip? And I thought my
Terrifying.
wife. I said, I thought my wife died. And they're like, what? And my wife's like, what? And I was like, yeah, you didn't move. I said, you just laid in one position and you weren't making any noise. You didn't toss and turn, nothing. And so again, I'm like, I got to call her parents. And what do I tell them? And what if they start to accuse me? And you know what I mean? Like, how long is this investigation going to take? And, it's all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, how long before the body starts to smell? Like, you know what I mean? Would I notice all these things? And anyways, it was just I way overthunk it.
She was deep in sleep.
And of course, everybody at the bar is like, why didn't you just go nudge her and see if she was alive? I'm like, I didn't want to wake her up if she was sleeping. But at the same time, I was terrified that my wife was laying in the bed dead.
Well, way to spiral out of control in the other bed when you 3 feet away when you could.
It didn't stop me from playing Candy Crush. I mean, I was killing levels. I was on a heater, but I was also at the whole time. I'm just like mentally trying to prepare myself for what do you do in that situation? You know, I have a friend of mine whose husband years ago died in his sleep.
So you can't.
And it's not like something I think about very often, but it's unusual for my wife to lay prone like that and not make any noise or move around. So I was just sort of like, and I'm trying to like clear my throat, one of these, see if maybe it gets a reaction. Nothing.
For
a whole hour, just laid there. Then finally she started to kind of snore, and I knew I was in safe territory.
It was clear.
Yeah.
No one's going to accuse you of anything.
I thought you were dead. It scared me. We got sports coming up after Falling in Reverse.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find the daily podcast at rockmornings.com.
Bad Guy, Falling in Reverse on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. The Bucks struggling a little bit over the last couple of games. They've lost 3 in a row. Trying to correct things tonight in Oklahoma City against the Thunder. That'll be a 7 o'clock tip for the Bucks. Badgers improving to 17-5 on the season thanks to a 75-69 win over the Northwestern team on Saturday. Badgers will be at home against Indiana tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. That game will be on Peacock.
Indiana.
Big trades in the NBA over the weekend. Obviously, Dean texting in, mentioning that. What many people are considering to be the worst trade in NBA history already.
I just saw a bunch of stuff on social media about it.
Yeah. The Lakers trading Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round draft pick to the Mavericks for Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris. I saw a video of a guy in a Mavs jersey yelling and screaming and saying it was this generation's JFK. There's also somebody that showed up out in front of the arena where the Mavericks play in Dallas with a coffin. There's like a whole tribute thing going on out there in front of the arena at the Dirk Nowitzki statue. Have you seen this? People are leaving tributes to Luka Doncic, flowers and pictures and coffins, and dude, people are not handling it well.
That doesn't sound like people are handling it well.
Elsewhere in the NBA, the Sacramento Kings are now finalizing a trade to send De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs and acquire Bulls guard Zach LaVine as part of a 3-team trade involving multiple players and other draft picks. So, waiting on the Jimmy Butler news. We'll see where he's going. See if the Bucks make any moves. Obviously, that's a situation that's fluid. Ravens kicker Justin Tucker now facing more allegations of sexually inappropriate behavior. This is just like Deshaun Watson.
This is the second massage guy.
Smoke and fire. As soon as we heard about 6 of them, now there's 3 more. 3 additional massage therapists have accused him of misconduct, according to the Baltimore Banner, some kind of website news situation there. In total, 9 massage therapists in the Baltimore area have accused Tucker of inappropriate behavior. All of the incidents reportedly occurred between 2012 and 2016, which were his first 5 seasons in the NFL. But yeah, more and more accusations coming out about. And it sounds like all of them are kind of the same. Exposing himself, touching the therapist inappropriately.
Then being kicked out.
A couple of spas kicked him out indefinitely, told him he's not welcome back. Apparently leaving what they assumed was ejaculate on the massage table. Chip Kelly going back to the NFL to become the Vegas Raiders offensive coordinator under the new head coach, Pete Carroll. Chip Kelly, of course, spending the last 7 seasons in college football, including last year when he was the OC and quarterback coach for the national champion Ohio State University. Formerly, Kelly was the head coach at UCLA for 6 seasons. Kind of a unsuccessful run with the Bruins. Sports on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene.
Snow is the topic in...
Du jour?
All the way from north of Eau Claire to Toma, essentially. There's trace 1 inch from Arcadia around that area, all the way to La Crosse, actually. You could see it, depending on where you're traveling this morning, up to 5 inches by north of Eau Claire, and that will be the case through late this morning. You know, driving home should be fine later on this afternoon, but this morning could be quite a mess.
We've got music on the way from Miles Kennedy. Also going to talk more Super Bowl stuff. Second Floor Sarah is going to join us just after 8 a.m. Bad news, happy music. Lots to get to.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Weekdays, 6 to 9.
Sunday, Super Bowl. Chiefs, Eagles. Can they both lose? Probably not.
Somebody's got to win.
Every NFL player on the winning Super Bowl team.
It's $1 million. Is that it?
Will get themselves $171,000 in a bonus from the NFL for winning. But some of the players can get even more money thanks to bonuses that are written into their contracts.
Sure.
For instance, Eagles running back Saquon Barkley will get $500,000 from his own team if he leads them to a Lombardi Trophy. He's already earned $1 million incentive, including $250,000 for winning the NFC Championship game. So, yeah, I'll come to Philly. I'll run the ball.
Bonuses, incentives,
and you'll pay me for it. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts will earn a $500,000 per year salary bump if Philly wins. So not a one-time deal, entire length of the contract deal. Kansas City quarterback Patrick Mahomes could get a $1.5 million salary bump if the Chiefs three-peat. The $171,000 that all the winners get, by the way, is up from last year, which was $164,000.
I'm sure it is. The tickets, remember I was telling you about that?
And the players on the losing team will get $96,000, which is up from $89,000 last year. So you don't even need to win the game, and you get a nice little $100,000 in your pocket. Meanwhile, if you're planning your Super Bowl party, it could be cheaper this year than it was last year if you serve less beer and more broccoli, apparently. Just what everybody wants at a Super Bowl party, less beer and more broccoli. Annual report by Wells Fargo looking into the average price of different Super Bowl food staples. They claim the overall price has stayed pretty much flat. A party for 10 people will cost about $139, up just 10 cents from last year, 2024.
What do they say is on this party, okay?
Depends on what you buy, however. And to really make your Super Bowl party cost less, you'll have to go heavy on the broccoli, celery, and cauliflower, so the veggie tray. They track 17 different prices. 9 things on their list will cost less this year. 8 will cost more. The things that will cost less at your Super Bowl party this year, according to a Wells Fargo report, are the celery, down about 8%. Broccoli, down about 7%. Potato chips, down 5%.
All right.
Frozen shrimp, down 4%. Cauliflower, also down 4%. Same with frozen pizza, down 4%. This is all just from last year. Tortilla chips down 1%, salsa also 1%, and nacho cheese also down 1% from last year.
All right.
And the things that'll cost you more this year.
Meat, anything with meat in it?
Cherry tomatoes up 12%. So just don't have cherry tomatoes? Is anybody going to not show up? This party doesn't have cherry tomatoes. I'm out of here.
So out.
Avocados, no big surprise. Tariffs and all that crap.
They're how much?
Up 12% from last year.
They're just popular.
Red bell peppers and chicken wings are both up 7%. I'm assuming chicken wings will be even more because of the bird flu and all that stuff. Baby carrots up 3%. Beer and wine up 2%. Onion dip also up 2% from last year, according to Wells Fargo in their report on.
There's a lot of dip and veggies on there. There's hardly any meat. You had one meat. I know.
I'm just telling you what they came up with. They apparently don't think that a good Super Bowl party has any meat.
I guess not. If you want some veggies and carrots and cherry tomatoes, you're screwed. But how about the meat?
Shrimp and chicken wings. That's it.
That's it.
No meatballs.
No.
No chicken barbecue dip or any of that stuff. Buffalo
wieners,
chicken dip. No mini cocktail weenies. Nothing.
Yeah. Nope.
No
frozen pizzas. Frozen
pepperoni,
pizzas
no
and
charcuterie
cauliflower.
board, no
It's a
charcuterie
terrible
board.
party. I'm not going.
Yeah, that sounds like the kind of party that Gene would host with a lot of vegetables and a lot of sadness.
Stop it. Now, there isn't any cheese on there, for God's sake.
A lot of
Stop with the
sadness.
sharp cheddar. Hey, by the way, they are saying if you want to go with a New Orleans themed, you could do some gumbo,
Jambalaya.
obviously. Actually, you might like this because remember the creamy onion dip you went nuts over a little while ago?
I'm all about that.
With the onion packets in it and
Yeah.
the actual...
So what I do now is I buy the Deans, right? Which is really kind of...
And then you...
And then I add an extra 1 or 2 packets of the French's onion soup to it and let it sit for a day and then kick it up a notch, and it's much better.
Apparently, the one that's traditional from New Orleans also has onions, mascarpone, so that creamy
cream cheese. Yep.
Mayonnaise, sour cream, and a spice blend found in most pantries. So you can
Mascarpone's
make that.
weird because it's sweet. You use it in desserts and stuff like that, but it's a cheese.
But it's also, chicken wings with a twist, so you're not going to want any of this. It's a sauce made from reduced crystal hot sauce, honey, butter, kind of put together more of a New Orleans style hot sauce on your wings. Tailgate chili burgers. This sounds kind of good, actually.
I don't see. That's a problem with. I don't want to cook. I want to I don't want to be cooking while the food. I don't want to fire up the grill in the middle of the game. I want just the food to be out and we just kind of graze.
No, I agree with you. But what if you had but apparently these burgers have kind of a chili sauce on the top of them with some andouille sausage.
Sounds
and
too spicy. Sounds too goddamn spicy.
And then you put some Fritos on top of that. Apparently,
and
it's
then
a traditional.
lava. Why don't you just put lava right up your anus?
It's not like that.
Sounds too hot. Somebody texted in and said your party will be cheaper because nobody will come.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too many veggies. Look, I get it. It's standard. Somebody brings a veggie tray. It's nice, I guess.
Yeah.
You take that celery and it's really just a shovel for the blue
if you had
cheese
the
or the
French onion
ranch.
dip with it, or if you had.
But it's a non-starter.
artichoke
If I show up and there's not any meatballs, or I'm leaving.
There's hardly
Pigs in a
wings.
blanket, nothing. I mean, you got nothing.
They had wings. That was it.
And there's no mention of sweets either. If I show up to your Super Bowl party and there's no Scotcheroos, you know what I mean? We're having some problems.
There's no treat at the end.
Yeah, fat guy want to eat. Not
Just
here.
not the hot stuff.
Not here for the hot stuff. No.
No, Louisiana style. Nothing like that.
I was talking about my wife in the Dells and how I thought she was dead because she was laying prone in the bed next to me.
For hours. You went to the bathroom, and then you came back, and she was like that.
Didn't
3-4
move,
hours.
didn't make any noise. Very unlike her, right? And in my mind, like I said, I was having these conversations with myself, and yeah, I could have just gotten up and gone and woken her up. But then I'm like, what if she is just sleeping? That must be the best sleep she's ever had. So why would I want to ruin that? So again,
she wasn't tossing and turning, and
No.
she wasn't having difficulty, so she's in a deep sleep.
I got a text from my guy Autumn who says, used to train truck drivers, had a student drive all night. He went to bed at 6 a.m. He didn't get up until 10 p.m. when I woke him up. 16 hours this kid slept. Said the last hour was mental hell. I was convinced he had to be dead.
I'll tell you what, my daughter got that virus that's going around, the stomach flu one. She slept
Yeah.
it was nuts from 11 p.m. until 7 p.m. the next. All day, all night, all weekend long. It was crazy.
When we first got together, my wife would sleep till 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon.
But this was because she didn't even move. She just laid
it was more about the lack of movement and sound. And then finally, when she started to snore, I'm like, oh, thank God, I don't have to call her parents and tell her that the daughter's
died in the
dead.
hotel room. I don't know what happened.
Of course, we watch all the true crime
That's what it
documentaries
is.
and all that stuff, and you're like, there you go, right for the husband. And I'm like, do I even touch the body? Do I, you know what I mean? Do I want to put any sort of evidence over there?
Speaking of my sick daughter and crime, she binged the if the glove doesn't
The OJ
fit, you
one?
must acquit.
Johnny Cochran.
Asking was this real? Did this happen like this?
I suppose she wasn't even alive yet.
No,
when it
and
happened.
she's like,
Yeah.
they had all this evidence and this, and I'm like, it was.
Yeah, but they
I know,
they
but-
effed it up. You got it. That's why we watch these shows, and it's so funny. The cops show up and they just start barehanding everything, and you're like, bro, put a glove
Furman,
on.
remember him?
Yeah.
He's racist. And
Furman,
the Bronco,
German, Furman.
Well, and the Bronco chase
Yeah.
with all the people out on the freeway and
Cheering him
free
on.
OJ, and
Yeah.
she's like, what is happening?
Yeah, it's crazy to me that we live in a society where
watch that.
a guy could potentially, essentially, cut his ex-wife's head off right, decapitate her and go on a chase and people would be cheering for him on the highway. It's like, hell yeah. Okay. That's what we're doing? Yeah. Yeah, the OJ times.
Yeah.
What a wild ride that was.
So it's out if you haven't.
Is that the new one on Netflix? The one that I said that was unnecessary? Or don't we already have enough of these? Okay.
That one.
All right. Thank you, Autumn, for the text. I appreciate it. It's nice to know I'm not the only guy that, plays out
Wonders about that.
Plays out all these crazy scenarios in his brain. So many questions, right? Well, and then I ran into a guy who, I'm not going to tell you who he is, but yesterday I ran into a guy who is like a funeral director guy, right? Like,
that's what he does.
What do you call him? Mortuary guy? My eyes just lit up. And I was telling him about this girl I used to work with at a restaurant who was going to school for mortuary sciences, and she told me I had to stop asking her questions because they were getting kind of ridiculous.
It was too many.
Well, and I was like, when do you ever get to learn about this stuff, right? Unless you're going to school for that, and it's kind of a family business, right? It's kind of a weird thing. It's not like I'm going to go and be like, yeah, I want to work with dead people. And they're like, oh, it sounds kind of weird. But yeah, he was taken aback by my interest in this subject. I was like, I don't know. I just like to ask questions about things so I can find out stuff. Feral cats up there. A lot of feral cats. Got some Stained on the way. Sounds like frontman for Bush, Gavin Rossdale, recently lost his mother, grieving for his lost mom. Here they are now with Everything Zen.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
Bush with Everything Zen on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Again, kind of cloudy and misty in La Crosse with a high of 38 today, but snow coming down in droves in the Eau Claire area. Obviously, travel's going to be an issue.
It's definitely going to be an issue this morning, and it's supposed to end mid-morning, late morning, if you will. So they'll get things cleaned up and by this afternoon. And it's melty, too. You know what I mean? It's not but 2 to 5 inches, so just be careful.
I got a text. I don't know who it's from, but... Chuck. Sorry, Chuck. What about the meat and cheese tray?
That's what I said. There was no cheddar on there or anything? Sausage?
No cheese. No cheese.
Sticks?
Yeah. Wells Fargo report about the cost of your Super Bowl party going down. Things that'll go down this year and things that'll increase in price. And, again, those are just the items they looked at. A lot of veggies. Shrimp and chicken wings were the only two kinds of meat that were on their list. No meatballs, no mini dogs, nothing.
Probably having a buffalo chicken dip because that's a big fan favorite at my house, that's a thing.
I don't know. We'll probably do some shrimp. We'll take out some frozen shrimp and do a shrimp cocktail thing.
I kind of like some of the frozen appetizers, too, honestly, if you put them on a tray.
Wife will probably get some meatballs, do like the grape jelly barbecue sauce meatballs.
The breaded jalapeno poppers.
What are the Wisconsin sushi, right? The ham roll-ups with the pickles. Can't go wrong with that. Little plates to little bites. Just lots of it. Rather than something, like Thanksgiving-wise where you got big, huge serving of something, a turkey leg.
Pizza sounds easy and good, too.
Pizza's
Make your own
good.
pizzas. Have a bunch of stuff.
Bar-style pizza as opposed to like a triangle pizza. You know what I mean? Where you get the squares.
Yeah.
You do that at your house or you do triangles?
Usually triangles.
Yeah. Do something different. But yeah, I don't know what kind of Super Bowl party doesn't have a meat and cheese tray or any kind of meat.
It had wings. That was the one meat. And I get it. I like wings. We had those a couple weeks ago for the playoffs, but that was it. Comparing prices and no meat.
We got Stain coming up in just a bit. If you want to find us online, go to rockmornings.com. You can listen to the show live on the website. You can check out the daily podcast. Find all our contact info, register to win contests, all of that online at rockmornings.com. Also, Second Floor Sarah going to join us here in a little bit, talking about things happening in our area this week.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Weekdays from 6 a.m. until 9 a.m.
Stained, it's been a while. Rock Mornings, Brian and Gene. Again, cloudy and a bit misty in La Crosse and lots of snow coming down in Eau Claire.
Yeah, but it looks like the roads are
Valley.
in pretty decent shape, so just be careful.
Yeah, be on the lookout. Isla Fisher is 49. She, of course, was Gloria in Wedding Crashers, the Stage 5 clinger.
Oh my God, don't ever leave me.
Ever.
Good. Because I'd find you.
Scary. Also, used to be married to Borat, Sacha Baron Cohen. Got sick of his stuff and moved on with her life. She's 49. Warwick Davis is 55. He, of course, was Willow.
Tell her I'm not going to let anything happen to the baby.
Also the evil leprechaun in the first 4 Leprechaun movies.
Is that my goal? What the hell are you? I'm a leprechaun, me dear.
Professor Flitwick in the Harry Potter films. Also Wicket in Return of the Jedi. And, yeah, pretty prolific career. Warwick Davis. Marty Jannetty, 65. One half of the Rockers from way back in the 80s. Tag team in the WWE. Got his ass super kicked through the plate glass window of Brutus the Barber Beefcake's barbershop.
And then he came back from that?
No, he did not. Shawn Michaels went on to become a Mega Millions superstar, and Marty Jannetty basically devolved into not much of anything. His career went way south, way fast.
That's what happens when you go through a plate glass window.
Yeah, it didn't work out so well for Marty Jannetty. Poor guy. 69 years old today, Nathan Lane.
Oh my God! Are you crazy? What are you doing?
Birdcage. So funny. Morgan Fairchild, 75. John Lovitz's wife.
And then I moved, you see, to Hollywood. And well, that's when I met my wife, Morgan Fairchild.
Blythe Danner is 82. You probably remember her most as Robert De Niro's wife in the Fockers movies.
Yep.
She's also the mother of Gwyneth Paltrow. John Fiedler was born on this day 100 years ago, 1925. He died in 2005. He did the voice of Piglet in the Winnie the Pooh cartoons and movies.
Who is it? It's a telegram for Piglet. But Piglet who? The Piglet who lives at this house and is hiding under his chair.
That Piglet, yeah. And Norman Rockwell, the painter. Born on this day in 1894, died in 1978. As we mentioned, it's the day the music died.
Isn't your wife going to go to the club or whatever? Was that the last place they played then? Is that the
Surf
deal?
Ballroom down there in Mason City, Iowa. So she's going to go on a girls' trip with her friends, and they're going to see Hairball at the Surf Ballroom, and then they're going to go to the museum and check out the crash site. We've been to the crash site before, my wife and I, and it's a little uninspiring.
It's just a field, isn't it?
Well, you drive down a dirt road, and there's a pair of big, huge glasses on the side of the road, and then you walk down a path, and it's, there's no, real signs or anything, and it's just some guy's farm. There's corn growing, and, you just walk, and then eventually it's, about a half mile in, and you get to a little, there's a plaque and a stone and some other memorabilia and stuff that people have left, but yeah. On this day in 1959, Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper died in a plane crash in Mason City, Iowa. This was, of course, the day the music died. 1992, the trial began for the 4 police officers charged in a civil rights violations in the videotaped beating of Rodney King. Their acquittal in April set off the LA riots. 2 of the cops later found guilty when they retried it in federal court.
That was, by the way, part of the documentary series, OJ, yes, and how everybody was just feeling and, what was happening at the time. And she also didn't know about that and was just like,
the riots?
whoa.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. 1995, the Jerky Boys turned their little shtick into a movie, and it made its way into theaters on this day in 1995.
Look, Jerky, I don't need to talk to you.
Jerky Boys, love it. You should tell your daughter about that, too, because they were funny as hell. She probably wouldn't find them as funny as I do, but 23 years ago today, 2002, the Patriots won their very first Super Bowl, beating the Rams 20-17 in Super Bowl 36.
This would be from 48 yards out. And this has been a year of Vinatieri and making some great kicks against the Raiders. 2 of the greatest kicks that I've ever seen in my life. Here comes one of greater importance if he makes it. And it's right down the pipe.
Oh, John Madden on the call. This was the first Super Bowl after the September 11th attacks. George Bush did the coin toss. U2 at the halftime show. Mariah Carey singing the national anthem.
And then your Patriots are victorious.
Oh, it was so good. The good old days. 19 years ago, 2006, Al Lewis, who played Grandpa Munster on the Munsters, died at the age of 82. And then Rob Zombie made a horrible movie about the Munsters, starring his wife. Go figure.
It has to.
Ugh. 2008, on the flip side of that coin, the Giants beat the Patriots in Super Bowl 42, 17-14. There you go. But then, you'll never guess what happened.
Oh, God. Does anyone care?
I care. We'll get to that in a second. 2012, Ben Gazzara died at the age of 81 of pancreatic cancer. He, of course, was the bad guy in Roadhouse.
Want to know why you disgust me? No, why, boss?
You're a bleeder.
Because you're a bleeder.
You bleed.
You bleed too much. You are a messy bleeder.
Yeah. Brad Wesley from Roadhouse. 2019, the Patriots beat the Rams in Super Bowl 53, 13-3.
Here we go. More,
man.
More Patriots crap.
So
Aren't there
good.
other people that won the Super Bowl on this day in history?
Not in the last 20 years. 2020, 5 years ago today, Packer legend Willie Wood died at the age of 83.
Go, Pack, go!
There you go, Gene. Stuff that happened on February 3rd, along with some birthdays. Second Floor Sarah is happening in just a couple of minutes. We'll find out what's going on in the area this week from her.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Start your day with Rock Mornings.
Monday mornings, just after 8 o'clock. We're joined in the studio by our friend Second Floor Sarah.
Good morning.
A very normal-looking outfit today. Still look way too warm.
I gotta meet with a
that
client.
sweater.
I gotta look normal.
You gotta look good. Gotta look good.
You can't wear your garanimals
No.
when you got to meet a client.
Gotta look kind of professional, dress
So
pants and
we
stuff.
were
That sweater looks way hot.
It is a little warm, I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
It's
then you
little
have a
warm in
vest
here.
on top of it. You could undo the vest here and just go rocking the sweater.
I could. You're right.
You mentioned to us that you're having a Super Bowl party this weekend, so you're
Yeah.
having people over to your new pad. You just moved in a couple months ago, and
Yeah.
so 12, 14 people.
Yeah.
My guess is
Well, I don't know if there'll be that many that show up.
there's
but-
going to be meat. Are you having any meat, or is it just a veggie thing?
Yeah, probably. Logan's gonna make turkey leg tacos, and then he's also making some venison chili. So
I knew there was meat you killed.
I ate some kind of pastry this weekend that was filled with venison and beaver meat.
Was it like
good.
a pierogi kind of thing?
Sort of, yeah. I don't know. It just somebody handed it to me yesterday at the bar, and they're like, "Hey, you want to try this thing with venison and beaver?"
Beaver?
And yeah.
It's a very oily meat.
Well, and it was cooked in such a way that it was a little gamey in the sense that you could tell it's not hamburger, and that's pretty true of any kind of wild. But it wasn't like off-putting or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some turkey leg tacos.
Yeah.
What are you making? Anything? Or are you just
Probably
relying
put
on him?
together a charcuterie board.
Easy
Quite
there.
the word.
I know you're penchant for swearing on the radio, so let's try to keep it down over there, okay?
Meat, cheese.
See,
some
meat,
fruit.
cheese.
Maybe get some chocolate-covered nuts or something.
Mm-hmm.
Throw on there.
It sounds like a delightful party. And then I'm assuming your guests will be bringing along stuff to
I think so. Whatever.
fill in the
whatever they wanna
blanks.
bring.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And are you set up for the game? You got the TV, everything's good to go?
Yeah, the house we moved into came with a pretty large television. So
Really? Look at that.
yeah, probably like 80, 90 inches.
Jesus
So-
Christ.
That's nice.
Never actually measured it, but it looks that big when you're standing in the living room. So
Hold on one
Yeah.
second.
It looks that big when you're standing in the living room.
Thank you, Sarah.
It does.
Keep that one. All right. So besides finding out about your Super Bowl party, we also want to find out what's happening in our area this
Yeah.
week leading up to the Super Bowl. Is there anything happening? Is there a make your own charcuterie class somewhere that somebody could take if they just don't want to throw some cheese on a plate?
I'm sure there is somewhere, but I don't have one to talk about.
Okay. What do we got? What's happening this week in our area?
Friday at 5 p.m., head over to the Winona Legion Riders annual chili feed and meat raffle.
Oh,
So,
meat raffle.
Who doesn't love a good
Love meat
raffle?
raffles. $5 pulls, and then you get a big bag of meat, some sticks, and some burger, and some
And you get to eat chili.
bacon,
So
and you have chili like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Saturday, Beer Fest at Fox Hollow Golf Course.
Saw
So-
that, yeah. They got a bunch of different breweries, and tickets
Yeah.
still available. I think they're like $40, and it's like a
Yep.
couple hours over there at Fox Hollow, and you
Yeah.
can try some different
I
beers.
like
and
that.
Why
that sounds
not?
good.
Why
You're
not?
talking about how many
Well,
good beers they have.
It says 20 rare limited release craft beers.
Well, and they already have a stellar lineup at Fox Hollow of beers on their regular menu, so this
Mm-hmm.
will obviously be a little addition to that, and then you can hang out and play some spooky spins or whatever.
Yeah.
They got a great menu over there, too, food-wise.
Yeah. And then on Sunday, for the Super Bowl, if you're not invited to my house, you can head over to Features in Holman for a Super Bowl Sunday VIP party. It's $50, all you can eat and drink there, so that's kind of a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Gonna have a buffet lined up. Looks like pulled pork, burgers, homemade chips, coleslaw, cookies, all the things. So
And James.
And James.
Can't go wrong with James serving it up
Absolutely
with a
not.
big smile on his face. 15
Always.
years of doing the damn thing over
Always
there at
smiling.
Features in Holman.
Always.
Love me some James.
Mm-hmm.
Love me some James. Well, there you go. Second floor Sarah letting us know what's happening in the area this week. She's got a big Super Bowl party at her house. Got to meet a client today. Got her very warm sweater on.
Yeah.
So we're having a Super Bowl event here in the building on Wednesday. Kind of a team building thing and having some soups and food. What are you having? What are you bringing?
Cookie dough dip. You ever had that?
Yes, I have.
It's delicious.
It's delicious. You'd serve it with like
There's prizes
graham
for
crackers.
best chili and soup and stuff. Yeah, Teddy Grahams or like chocolate animal crackers.
Yeah. I got a buddy of mine who makes that for our, when we used to, my wife and I would have an annual party every year, and he would bring that. And it was delightful.
Mm-hmm.
I won't be bringing anything because I don't like to participate in this stupid stuff. And I don't like to
There's
stay
also
later
a
than I have
board
to.
upstairs. Did you put your $10 on the
No,
board?
I did that last year and I didn't win anything, so I decided
See,
to.
it's rigged.
I'll take my $10 and put it in the pull tabs or something.
Rigged.
I don't know.
I got on a board at a bar for $5. I got to figure out what my numbers are, and then I picked up a couple of tip boards that pay out. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. All right, second floor, Sarah. Thank you so much for coming down. Always a pleasure. Appreciate
absolutely.
it. Pop Evil just in town a couple of weeks ago. Well, last week. What was it? Last Friday? Not this past one, but the one before.
Correct. Yep. Only a week ago.
At the Lacrosse Center. Here they are now.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find the daily podcast at rockmornings.com.
Green Day with Brain Stew / Jaded. Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find us online at rockmornings.com. The friggin' sports brought to you by Brock Lesnar, who has now been named and identified in the federal lawsuit that Janelle Grant filed against the WWE and former executive Vince McMahon. This filing occurred back in January of 2024, but in an amended complaint filed in the U.S. District Court on Friday, Grant now identifies Brock Lesnar as an individual that she claims Vince McMahon offered her to for sex in 2021.
He offered her to Vince McMahon?
Vince offered her to Brock Lesnar for sex back in 2000.
You can have her if you'd like, kind of.
Grant, who worked in the company's legal and talent departments, has alleged that Vince McMahon forced her into a sexual relationship in order to keep her job. She also alleges that McMahon demanded she create personalized sexual content for Brock Lesnar back in July of 21. At a time, McMahon was attempting to keep Lesnar under contract with the WWE. She further alleges that McMahon flew Lesnar to Connecticut in 2021 for a sexual encounter, which ultimately did not happen. You can obviously read a lot more about this whole situation, but Brock Lesnar now officially identified in this lawsuit, amended lawsuit, against the WWE and Vince McMahon. All sorts of sordid details in there, if you
want to go in depth and try to figure that all out.
Oh, yeah. Royal Rumble on the TV didn't seem to matter to all the people that were there in Indianapolis watching it about all this stuff. I mean, it was on the TV on Saturday.
Yeah, when you were at the
when we were
showboat.
watching Pat, they had it on. We were watching it. It was kind of taking my focus away from Pat at times. We watched the ladder match and then the Royal Rumble match. I thought Rey Mysterio was going to last. Thought he was going to be in there. He was the first guy out and thought he was going to stay the whole time, but yeah.
I know our coworker had some folks over. Always has a Rumble party, so.
The friggin' sports on Rock Mornings. We'll get to bad news, happy music next, along with some sleep theory.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Weekdays, 6 to 9.
You're about to enter a beautiful, exciting, wonderful new world.
A cockroach living in your nostril. Now that's just nasty. Add in some haven't pooped for 30 days.
Poop is raining from the ceilings. Poop.
And sprinkle in some hashtag Florida Man for flavor.
Florida man. Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man. Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man quits his Burger King job, steals all of their chicken nuggets.
It's bad news.
Bad news.
With happy music.
Let's rock.
Oh, boy. A Detroit priest and self-proclaimed exorcist is facing charges after allegedly attempting to use a 13-year-old girl's hair to floss his teeth with. I guess when you think about priests and all the creepy stuff that they've been known to do, this might not be the worst, but still, what are you doing, bro?
Was he hired to give her an exorcism?
Father Carlos Martins is from Detroit and is the star of a popular podcast named The Exorcist Files, comparing his life to the movie The Exorcist. He's a member of the Catholic Church, works and lives on Detroit's west side at the Companions of Cross Church. In November, he was visiting Illinois as a traveling priest. And there, it's alleged that he approached a 13-year-old girl, asked about her hair, and specifically if she ever used it to floss her teeth with. Sergeant Dwayne English with the Joliet Police Department.
It's alleged that he then picked up her hair, placed it in his mouth, and made a flossing motion. And that was the allegation that was made by not only the young lady herself, but the individuals that were around her at that time. I can't imagine how scary this might have been for this young lady and the other people around her.
Did they have no affiliation? He just walks up to some girl?
Police say minutes later, he sat in the pew behind her and started growling at her. Turned himself in earlier last week on a misdemeanor charge of battery for grabbing the teen's hair and trying to floss with it. Apparently, the leader of the Companions of Cross Church confirmed that Father Martins is currently not able to work with the public until this case works its way through the courts. If found guilty in Illinois, he could spend a year behind bars or on probation. So it sounds like she was at the church. He was there on a mission or whatever.
And just walks up to her and starts talking to her about
again
things. Have you ever
flossed your teeth with your hair?
Do you mind if I do?
Yeah, actually I do, you creep. Gotta be honest, I can see why someone would do this. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with Cinnabon. Number one, I love them. They're delicious. How can you go wrong?
Is the hate part because you overdo it?
The hate part is because I worked in a mall, and the Cinnabon was right across from my store. And so I could smell it all day.
Yeah.
And first thing in the morning, delightful. 2 in the afternoon, had enough, bro. You know what I mean?
7 o'clock at night, still, bro. Too much cinnamon.
The other part about it that was the hate part was that the store I worked in was a very small mom and pop shop. Mm-hmm. It was a T-shirt store. I managed it. And so I was full-time, and I worked there Monday through Saturday, whatever. And I was there open until later in the afternoon, almost every day. But I was the only employee. And you're not really supposed to, shut the store to go to the food court to get your pizza at Sbarro or whatever, or Giant Panda or whatever. So the only real food option, unless I brought food in, and of course I'm in my 20s, dude, I'm not bringing in food.
It's not a.
I'm living in a 1-bedroom apartment. I can barely make ends meet, right? I'm a 20-something-year-old guy
who's not packing a lunch.
So my go-to for food was Cinnabon. That's the only place I could go. It was right there, right next to my store. And again, delicious, but if it's the only thing you have to eat several days a week, it can get a bit nauseating. So I can kind of understand why this guy would break into the mall and steal Cinnabons.
That's what he did?
And that's all he did. Apparently just really wanted some Cinnabons.
Don't they sell them at the store now? Can't you make your at home or something?
Someone in Atlanta is facing a felony charge for breaking into a mall and stealing some cinnamon rolls. The Dunwoody Police Department said someone broke into the Perimeter Mall for a midnight snack and stole some Cinnabons. Obviously, no one there working, so they must have them prepackaged, ready to go.
Take them home, take and bake.
A Facebook post by the police department said, quote, "Now, instead of enjoying a warm, gooey cinnamon roll, you're facing a felony burglary charge," end quote. The police department acknowledged that while Cinnabons can be tempting, it's not worth the jail time. they're still looking for the suspect. Their Facebook post says, "We get it. Cinnabons can be tempting, but breaking into Perimeter Mall for a midnight snack and stealing Cinnabons is just not smart. Not in Dunwoody. Now, instead of enjoying a warm, gooey cinnamon roll, you're facing a felony burglary charge. Next time, think about the long-term consequences before you give in to those late-night cravings. The county jail might have food, but trust us, it's no Cinnabon."
No. If you catch them. No videos to get these people?
I'm sure they've got video of this.
A warm, gooey cinnamon roll at midnight sounds good, though.
You know,
they got out of there, got home, and baked it.
It's a really good time to get one.
Ate it, enjoyed it.
I bet he did. Probably nuked it. How long do you nuke
I think it goes in the... I don't think you... I think you'd put it in the oven. I don't think you'd put it in the microwave.
It takes too long. Got to wait for it to heat. It's like, I need it now. A guy who's going to break into a mall doesn't have time for the oven and stuff. You're maybe not even nuking it, just eating it raw.
True.
What's the first rule of Fight Club, Gene?
I don't think you talk about Fight Club.
The first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club.
The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
What's the second rule?
The second rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
Hashtag Florida man arrested for trying to start his own fight club at an elementary school earlier last week.
Elementary school.
Yeah. Arrested for attacking a man at a Marion County elementary school last week. Wagner Silva of Florida, arrested last Monday on a charge of burglary with assault or battery. On Monday, the deputies with the Marion County Sheriff's Office responded to the Greenway Elementary School regarding a fight. Deputies said a man dropped off his kid at school and was walking across the crosswalk when he was nearly hit by a vehicle that was driven by Silva.
Well, that's not good.
In response, the victim pushed Silva's passenger side window shut, according to an arrest report, and yelled, "Stop for pedestrians in the crosswalk." Not quite sure how you
shut a passenger.
The only thing I
window?
can think of is the old trucks that would have like the little tilt-out
That's
window
all I
there.
can think of too.
You know what I mean?
Otherwise, how do you?
Maybe it meant mirror. You know what I mean? Like the mirror pushed it in. I don't know. That, of course, led to an argument. The man got into his pickup truck, left, and drove onto the school grounds to inform a school resource officer about the incident. Authorities say that Silva followed and then confronted the man as he began to pull out of the school's parking lot. Deputies said Silva pulled in front of the man's truck, got out of the vehicle, began yelling. He went on to repeatedly open and close the victim's vehicle door on his leg. The victim asked Silva, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Silva then said yes, grabbed the victim while he was still in the vehicle and hit him in the chest. A school employee telling authorities that she witnessed Silva punching the man's car window, reaching in and grabbing the victim before punching him in the chest multiple times. The victim able to push Silva to the ground and hold him there until help arrived. And this guy's now been arrested on assault and battery charges because he didn't follow the first rule of Fight Club. You don't talk about Fight Club.
Was he the pedestrian in the roadway?
No, so he was driving, and this guy was going to a crosswalk, and he's having a yelling competition. Then he follows the guy into the school.
Then he attacks him in his car.
Yep.
And the guy's like, "Hey, you sure you want to do this, dude? I don't think you want to do this."
This is crazy. There's a video of this. I don't know if you've seen it. California man returning to his home in Altadena after the Eaton fire and found something very interesting underneath his house.
Oh, I did see this.
A 525-pound bear had taken up residence in the crawl space underneath his house.
The bears can smell the menstruation.
Well, the bear was trying to take cover from the fire itself, so it found this hidey hole. It crawled underneath, like, in where it was all like kind of concrete and rocks.
Yeah, it's a
and
crawl
stuff,
space,
and it hid there and was safe.
The homeowner, along with neighbors in Altadena, had been evacuated due to the Eaton fire. Once they returned, the utility company informed the resident that power could not be restored as there was a bear under the home where the company needed to work.
The bears.
Big bear, too.
Oh, huge. 525 pounds. I mean, not the biggest bear you've ever seen, but we're not talking about,
out in the woods. We're talking about under your house. And they stuck like a light and a camera down there to see her, didn't they? And
apparently, they know this bear pretty well. It lives in the area, and they see it quite often. The homeowner, a guy named Sammy, said the bear is well known to the residents as a resident of Eaton Canyon. Neighbors have variously nicknamed him Barry and Victor. I think during the fire, he pretty much stayed in there. I think he was scared.
I think he went under there and stayed safe.
So they went to a restaurant, got some rotisserie chicken and sardines and tomato sauce, apples, peanut butter, all kinds of stuff. They made a feast for him. The bear was successfully lured out of his hiding place and trapped for relocation. The biologist actually said it was the biggest bear he's ever seen. 525-pounder living in this guy's house.
Big Bear, chase! Big Bear, chase!
What does he say?
What? Big Bear, chase me!
Ouch.
They stuck like a camera and some lights down there or whatever at his face. He's just like, hey,
it looks like dude, the one picture I saw, he looks like he just woke up. Like he's got one of these like, really? You guys woke me up for this?
I've been under here taking shelter, although he's been trapped under there for a couple weeks since those fires. Poor guy.
They got him out, though.
Needs that
Using
chicken.
Some rotisserie chicken and sardines.
Needs it.
It seems very haphazardly thrown together. Rotisserie chicken, sardines.
Apples,
peanut butter. All right. But, like...
They probably looked it up. What are all their favorites?
What does a bear really want? A rotisserie chicken.
Mm-hmm. And little fish.
You know, that's what every grown bear needs is a rotisserie chicken.
I do like those apples.
Last but not least, when strippers go bad. Oh, Gene. What do you do when a stripper goes bad? You keep her out of the convenience store, away from those bananas. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this girl's first name. It's so bad. A 7-Eleven customer used a banana to batter a store clerk, according to police in Florida. All right, here we go. C-A-L, write this down. C-A-L-T-A-E V-I-Y-A. Caltavia?
Teavia?
Caltavia? Is that the name?
Sure.
Castlevania? All right. Castlevania Turner got into a verbal altercation with the 30-year-old female worker, and the two women exchanged derogatory comments towards each other. At one point, Turner became irate, picked up a banana from the cashier's counter, and threw the banana at the victim's face. The airborne fruit striking the employee on the cheekbone. It left a minor abrasion.
Right here?
Minor. Not so much here.
But really right in this area?
Not so much here.
Mm-hmm. A minor abrasion.
The banana, by the way, not seized as evidence. Apparently. They did not need to keep it for their records.
They put it back on the shelf?
Yeah.
So somebody can eat it really...
It's got a peel.
Oh, I don't like it when they get brown quickly.
If that's the worst thing that happens to your banana and the trip it makes from the tree to your mouth...
I don't like it.
You're doing all right. Turner was arrested for battery, booked into the county jail, misdemeanor count. Police records list her employee as, or her employer as Baby Dolls, a Clearwater Gentlemen's Club located 4 miles from the 7-Eleven.
It was a gentleman's club in the Dells. You were just in the Dells this weekend.
Didn't go to either of them. Got to be honest, don't know if I would. I'd probably turn around if I walked in and saw Castlevania. The mugshot is very scary looking. Looks like the kind of woman who would throw a banana at your face. Turner being held without bond for violating probation in connection with a grand theft conviction in a neighboring county. She's got a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, she stole about $800 worth of merchandise from a Walmart. That's what she's dealing with there in the probation violation.
And she knew that, but yet she threw the banana.
Yeah.
She's reckless.
Also recently arrested for resisting and giving cops a false name when they responded to a trespass call at Baby Dolls. She was free on a $1,000 bond in that case when she was collared for the alleged banana battery. Castlevania Turner out there ripping up the streets of Florida, tossing bananas,
taking what she wants,
willy-nilly from Walmart,
from the store,
and taking her clothes off for money.
A gentleman's club.
Poor strippers. Life is so rough. Bad news, happy music. On Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene, we'll get to our daily check-ins after Audio Slave.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com. Call.
Hello.
Email.
I tried emailing you.
Text. So many ways to check in with us. Check. We rely on you guys for traffic updates, requests, and all sorts of other stuff.
Check this out.
Visit the website, rockmornings.com, for all of our contact info and register to win prizes. Workforce Wednesday, date night on Fridays. Mm-hmm. You can check out our daily podcast as well. Give it a like and subscribe. Got a bunch of text messages from people this morning. One from the Plow Guy in Eau Claire. This was very early. Said, Plow Guy here, the roads in Chippewa Valley are snow-covered and slippery. Slow down.
That's for sure. They are, and that snow continues through late morning throughout the region.
Talking about groundhogs, because yesterday was Groundhog Day. And Punxsutawney Phil, the world's most famous groundhog, saw his shadow.
And is apparently bad at his job.
And said 6 more weeks of winter, but he's
good.
Only right 38% of the time. Meanwhile, Staten Island Chuck is correct 85% of the time. Mm-hmm. The most accurate of the groundhogs. Ryan texted in and said, Jimmy the Groundhog in Sun Prairie, number 4 on the accuracy predictions. Very nice.
So Phil is
way down the list.
I mean, he's like the shining example of what it's like to be a predicting groundhog, except he's terrible.
Got a text from Officer Lozano letting us know that Canine Rock, who we helped make a reality for the La Crosse Police Department several years ago, is officially on day shift as of today, running down criminals.
He got promoted to days.
Wanted to hear some Shepherd of Fire from A7X. He's a German Shepherd.
Yeah, I know.
So we did that for him. Thank you very much. Oh yeah, we got his stuffed animal in the studio.
Animal right here. Rocks on days. Woo woo.
Chuck at Chart said, what about a meat and cheese tray? We were talking about that Wells Fargo report about the cost of some of the stuff at your Super Bowl party, and the only 2 meats were shrimp and chicken wings. There were no meatballs, no charcuterie board, nothing.
No venison, no meat sticks.
No cheese at all.
No cheese at all.
Well, I think nacho cheese was on there.
I would argue not a cheese.
It's sauce. Cheese.
It's a
cheese-like sauce.
Yeah.
Got another text from someone who said, your party will be cheaper because nobody will come. Yeah, if you don't have meat and cheese.
Yeah, if you're just having broccoli and cauliflower, I don't know.
Paul texted in and said, Mrs. Doc and Doc's anniversary today. Remember on Friday, Doc let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Happy 35th, I believe, right?
They were celebrating with a wrestler who was a comedic wrestler, wasn't it?
Hornswoggle. You having a brain fart over there?
No, it was a wrestler who did comedy, right? And that's what they were going to do to celebrate.
And our buddy James in Altoona just texted in and said, effing snow, it's like a Wisconsin death trip. Can we get the masses some Static X?
Oh, sorry about that. Stay put until it stops.
Yeah. Thanks for all the correspondence. Have a great rest of your Monday. We'll talk to you tomorrow.